Made with Spoken. Celestial Convergence Dragons of Vacari No. 3 by T.A. McEvoy. Digital narration, performed by multiple digital voices. The canopy of the ivory moonbeams rose like a vaulted hall, sunlight filtering through pale leaves that shimmered like silvered glass. Kelon placed each step with care, his boots barely brushing the moss-soft earth. The forest was quiet. Not the comfort of peace, but the weighted hush of an audience that did not wish to be seen. He shifted his satchel and swept the underbrush and high, braided limbs with a measured glance. Nothing moved. Nothing stirred. And yet, "I'm not alone," he breathed. Far above, in a lattice of moonlit branches, sylvan elves crouched in perfect stillness, features veiled in leaf and shadow, eyes glinting like starlight. They did not speak. They did not intervene. They watched. Kelon drew his cloak tighter and pressed on. The silence clung too closely, too deliberately, echoing childhood tales that whispered through his mind. The sylvan elves were ever watchful, seen only when they wished. He paused, glanced back. Nothing but trees and silver light, but he knew.
"They saw me," he murmured. "They always do."
The wind brushed the canopy, soft as breath too soft to be only wind. He shook his head and walked on, pretending not to notice. When he stepped beyond the edge of their sacred wood, the watchers did not give chase. One slipped soundlessly from a perch and vanished deeper into the trees. In a hidden glade, beneath the root spires of an ancient moonwood, the elders gathered. The wind carried news of the trespass.
"He did not disturb the land,"
one murmured.
"But he entered it,"
said another.
"And that cannot go unanswered."
An elder with snow-pale braids and eyes like riverstone lifted a hand. Moonlight bloomed faintly in her palm.
"A Druki walks our path, one whose steps have already stirred enough trouble beyond our borders."
A ripple passed through the circle.
"Send word to Lord Karanen, the Eladrin mage of Everhona,"
she said.
"He will know what must be done."
By the time Kelon reached his first clearing, his name was already riding the wind toward Everhona. Back in Flameford, the air thickened, carrying the stench of scorched stone and something older, colder. A ripple of magic cracked through the volcanic sky as a massive scaled form descended from the storm, wreathed in tendrils of void-born mist. Varatos had arrived. Her scales gleamed with abyssal sheen, black as the void rimmed in violet fire. Smoke trailed from her wings, not flame, and her obsidian gaze cut through stone and thought alike. Behind her, a host of abyssal kin followed in disciplined silence. From the balcony tower, the mysterious figure swept down to the cavern of ash, ignoring Zilron and Glazeria, where they lurked in silence.
"Varathos,"
they called, voice reverent.
"We are honored by your arrival."
The dragon's horns curled like void-wrought stone as she tilted her head.
"We felt the pulse,"
she said, her voice deep and resonant.
"The time draws near."
"You may choose any place in Flameford,"
the figure urged.
"Establish your lair where you wish."
Varatos's eyes gleamed faintly.
"This realm is thin, comfortable enough for connection, not habitation. Our true dwelling remains in the void."
She glanced past the figure, a smirk curving like a blade.
"So, these are your warriors?"
Her voice dripped with disdain.
"No wonder you failed."
The mysterious person's jaw twitched, though they hid the sting.
"These dragons are weak."
Zilron's molten eyes narrowed at the insult. Heat shimmered beneath his talons, cracking the stone. Glaceria's breath spilled in a plume of frost across the floor, her silence colder than words. Varatos did not wait for a reply.
"My kind will show you what strength truly is."
With a hiss of unraveling magic, she launched skyward, her kin streaming after her in eerie grace. From the northern edge of Flameford, her voice thundered back through the clouds.
"Voraxia and the shadow dragons come soon. Then you will have your reckoning."
Silence draped the cavern after she vanished into the storm. It did not last. Zilron's growl cracked the air, wings flaring wide.
"How dare that abyssal worm dismiss me?
His tail lashed, scattering stone and ash. From the shadows, Zalzarath unfurled, his voice oozing like oil.
She spoke as if she already ruled this domain.
Zilron's snort was a mix of fire and contempt.
I am warlord of the Flamebound. I earned it in fire and blood. I remember the Battle of Vacari, when I brought down Calum, the copper dragon. I claimed that sky in flame. Let her try to match that.
His lips peeled back, heat curling in his throat.
I have fought more battles for this cause than she ever will.
Glaceria's tail twitched. Her eyes glittered with a frostbitten judgment that needed no words. Even Nocturna, still as shadow, gave a slow nod.
She slighted us all,
she murmured. Zilron's flames flared, then dimmed.
For now we watch. Let her build. But if the shadow dragons dismiss me as she did...
He left the threat unfinished. The heat rolling from his scales said more than words. The others bowed their heads in grim accord, wings folding like drawn blades. Something was splintering in the shadows, and it would not take much to shatter it. Unseen above, the mysterious figure stood cloaked in the upper corridor, eyes narrowing as they listened to every word. Zilron's fury was no longer a weapon they could wield. It was becoming a blade pointed at them. The terraces lay pristine, silver-barked trees rising taller than memory, their blossoms spilling soft light into the air. Wind harps strung between crystal branches chimed gently as unseen streams whispered in the distance. Magic hummed here, the old kind, from before the wars and the fractures. Celestial attendants moved among the grounds in flowing robes, their luminous eyes lifting as he descended. Awe lit their faces, reverence slowed their steps. One bowed low, voice like music.
Welcome home, Radiantus. We have kept the sanctum ready for when you returned.
Radiantus inclined his head, his voice gentle thunder.
You have done well. The peace of this place still breathes.
From the far end of the terrace, a woman broke into a run. Sun-touched skin, golden braided hair catching the light like spun fire, robes of lavender and white streaming behind her. Crystal beads chimed in her hair as she crossed the wide span without hesitation.
Radiantus!
Tears glimmered in her eyes as she flung her arms around his massive neck. He froze only a moment before rumbling low, a sound that seemed to vibrate the stone beneath their feet. Lowering his head, he brushed his muzzle gently along her shoulder, scales warm against her skin.
Talira,
he said. She smiled through tears, the kind of smile that carried a lifetime of guarded hope, now burning bright.
You remember me?
I remember your ancestor,
Radiantus replied, eyes softening.
He rode beside me through the burning skies and the Silence War. His courage saved cities, and he fell with honor. I have not seen his line since.
Her hand pressed to her heart.
I am the 5th generation of his blood. We have trained. We have remembered. I never thought I would see you return.
He studied her quietly. Then, with a gravity that seemed to bend the air itself, he asked,
Would you consent to ride with me?
It was more than a question. It was a bridge across centuries. A soul long alone choosing not to stand apart. Radiantus had resisted bonds for ages. But danger was encroaching, prophecy stirring. He could resist no longer. Talira gasped.
Yes, I have trained since childhood, dreaming of this moment. I would be honored beyond words.
A low hum escaped him, warm and resonant, like a star exhaling its first light.
Then it is done,
he said.
A bond reborn from legacy. Let it begin anew.
But already his gaze was distant, weighted with purpose.
More riders will be needed. Your people must be ready for what is coming, and for what I have brought with me.
Her joy steadied into resolve. She bowed swiftly.
They will come, and when the darkness rises, they will not stand alone.
Radiantus nodded once, sunlight glinting on his platinum scales as he turned toward the open plaza beyond the sanctum. A vast expanse of pale stone ringed by luminous obelisks and silver-arched bridges. At its heart lay the square of Ilarion, the living pulse of Lyra'el. His claws struck the stone like steady drumbeats. Celestials paused mid-task. Children hushed on balconies. Scholars stilled their quills. Some gasped, others wept. Radiantus had returned. Lyra'el did not linger. She wove through moonstone bridges and hanging gardens, her voice carrying clear.
Come to the square. The platinum dragon Radiantus has returned, and he brings news.
The words rippled outward like starlight on still water. Gates opened, windows unlatched, and the square began to fill. Above, cloaked in stillness, Rhys watched from a high bridge. Crimson eyes followed the gathering throng, envy smouldering beneath a calculating gaze. Radiantus's name rose like a prayer, while his own was spoken only in shadow. That would change. Below, Radiantus unfurled his wings, his sigh the opening chord of a hymn.
My people,
He said.
I am glad to be home.
Silence fell.
It has been too long, and for my absence I owe you an apology. I thought distance would shield you, but in truth I left you vulnerable. For that, I ask forgiveness.
His gaze swept the elders, the warriors, and the children alike.
The world beyond has not been quiet. The time for our return is overdue. I bring with me the platinum dragons, our kin once scattered. They are home now, and not only them. I bring the celestial dragons, born of light and wisdom, return to aid us.
Gasps swept the square. One elder stepped forward, bowing low.
Their name was never forgotten. They are welcome, as you are.
Radiantus inclined his head.
Then we move forward together. Darkness spreads in Vacari. Shadows once broken now reform. Dragons twisted by the void, and a being hidden who plots against all bonds of light. They seek to consume what we have rebuilt.
The crowd shivered like leaves in the wind.
But we will not allow it. We will stand. We will protect not only Vacari, but the balance itself.
Strength rose in their voices. No longer whispers, but a unified voice. Towers lit with inner glow, bridges gleaming with new resolve. Yet Radiantus's heart stirred with memory of another crowd, another vow of unity, before fire rained on the Temple of Accord. Not again. This time he would lead with clarity and caution. He turned to Lyra'el.
Tell them I will return soon, and not alone.
They'll be ready,
She promised. Radiantus lifted into the sky, platinum fire streaking across the horizon. And in the ivy-shadowed spire, Rhys slipped away. Glyphs burned faint against his palm, each word a thread of betrayal. His eyes were cold. The wind swept gently across the high plateau, where the platinum dragons gathered, gleaming titans of wisdom and power, their scales shimmering with the light of ages. Beside them stood the celestial dragons, radiant in their otherworldly grace, wings folded like veils of molten starlight as they waited in silence. Then he came. A trail of platinum brilliance tore through the clouds, each sweep of his vast wings scattering motes like drifting constellations. Radiantus descended in measured arcs, landing at the heart of the gathering with a soft quake of stone. The wind stilled, as though the very air bowed in reverence. He raised his head, his voice strong yet warm.
It is time. The path is clear. The realm of Lyra'el stands ready. We return together.
A murmur rippled through the assembly like wind over crystal, like dawn meeting fire. Radiantus turned to Aurelius, whose scales shimmered in shifting hues of gold, silver, sapphire, and rose.
Aurelius,
he said, his voice gentling.
Some in Lyra'el still remember your kind.
Aurelius blinked, wonder flickering in his ageless eyes.
After all this time,
Vacari never forgets,
Radiantus said. His gaze was steady, his tone reverent.
Nor do the celestials of Lyra'el. Your echoes lived on in song, in story, in spirit.
For a moment, Aurelius could not speak. Then he bowed his head, solemn and moved.
Then let us return, not in secrecy, but in light.
Radiantus spread his wings, sunlight blazing across their span.
To Lyra'el!
The dragons rose as one, platinum and celestial together, their wing beats pounding like drums of memory and triumph. The sky ignited with fire and starlight, arcs of gold and silver carving brilliance into the air as they swept toward the horizon. Ahead lay the cradle of harmony and light. Ilarion glimmered in the distance, its lake flashing like molten glass, its towers burning with prismatic glow, its bridges strung in silver arcs. Children and elders alike lifted their eyes, breathless, as the heavens themselves blazed with wings reborn. But in the highest spire, unseen by the rejoicing multitude, shadows lingered still. The people of Lyra'el had not been idle during Radiantus's absence. They had labored with quiet devotion, weaving gardens into living tapestries of silver and gold, restoring sanctuaries until even the air seemed to sing, rekindling halls that had slept in silence for centuries. Word spread along crystal avenues until thousands filled the terraces, plazas, and hanging gardens to witness the impossible. The dragons were returning. The first sign came as a shimmer, faint as a mirage, beyond the silver canopy of the singing forest. Then, the shapes broke through the horizon. Platinum arcs, ribbons of celestial flame, wings like living constellations. Their formations swept in a vast, gliding curve over crystal glades and cascading ridges, the air thrumming with the weight of their power. Gasps rose like a tide. The young, too young to remember the age of harmony except as stories, cried out in awe. Their wings flared silver blue as they rushed to the plaza, voices tumbling over one another in wonder. The elders did not move. They only watched, tears carving silver tracks down their cheeks as centuries of silence cracked open. For them, the sight was not only a miracle, but also a cherished memory. The dream of return, carried by those long gone, is now fulfilled at last.
To see them return,
One elder whispered, voice breaking.
is to believe in miracles again.
Her hands trembled against her chest, and her eyes burned with tears for her sister, Ailira, who had died still dreaming of this day. Side by side, Radiantus and Aurelius descended, not into the crowded heart of Ilarion, but toward the skyward sanctums. Vast platforms of starstone and quartz suspended along the outer ridges. Waterfalls spilled from their edges, scattering rainbows like blessings across the air. Claws struck stone with resonant finality. Ancient glyphs flared to life. Blossoms swirled on the wind, catching in wings that gleamed with platinum, gold, and violet fire. This was no mere return. It was a renewal. It was a covenant. A crystalline bell tolled from the high tower, each note ringing outward like starlight poured into sound. The vow of Lyra'el awakened once more. Never again would the realm forget its guardians.
Radiantus!
The cry rang bright and familiar. Tahlira approached, robes trailing light, her golden braids glittering in the sun. Pride lit her eyes.
You've been busy,
Radiantus rumbled, warmth threading through his thunder-deep voice.
As have you.
She replied, bowing her head.
But while you gathered the dragons, I gathered their future.
She stepped aside. Dozens stood ready. Eladrin, celestial-born, and those of mingled blood. Their stances were steady, their eyes alight with anticipation.
Dragonriders.
Tahlira said.
Chosen. Trained. Ready.
Radiantus's chest tightened. For a heartbeat, the weight of centuries pressed against him. The silence, the losses, the broken vows. And then it lifted, falling away before this living answer. Aurelius's eyes glimmered, voice hushed with memory. He saw again the starlit peaks, the rush of wind, the laughter of a rider whose absence was still a wound unhealed. To be remembered after so long, it struck deeper than he could bear to admit. Radiantus stepped forward, voice steady, edged with vow.
Welcome. Your presence is the promise of tomorrow. Soon you will bond with dragons who will walk with you, fly with you, fight beside you.
His wings lifted, radiant arcs stretching like sunrise across the square.
The light has returned, and you.
His gaze lingered on Tahlira, her golden braids blazing like sunlight through rain.
You are its flame.
The square erupted. Voices rose like a hymn, rolling through terraces and towers, scattering across moonstone bridges. The sound was not a mere celebration. It was a rebirth. Radiantus let the roar wash over him, not as a sovereign receiving worship, but as a guardian receiving a vow. For the first time in centuries, the balance stirred with promise. Yet above, in the shadowed high bridge, Rhys lingered. A knot of umbral elves waited behind him, cloaked in silence, eyes sharp with old grievance. His crimson gaze burned with envy, though his smile was thin, brittle.
Let them cheer. Let them believe. The scales would tip soon enough. And when they did, it would not be toward the light.
Professional audiobooks in a click. Spoken.